Good evening, noise pollution.
And to you as well.
Thank you for coming to Discord and thanks for joining me tonight. Are, are you familiar with Beverly Hills Cop?
I am familiar with it. Not greatly, but I have seen all the movies. In fact, I was alive when they all came out.
Yeah, and I started taking interest in them since I paid visit to Zod Rider on his channel when he was holding watch-alongs with some of the other guys that I follow on his. Well, yeah, they're quite funny too with Eddie Murphy and how classic his movies are for having a mixture of comedy and buddy cop action. You know where I get it?
If you don't mind, I'll bring somebody else into the chat. Is that okay?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, I'm trying to set that up now.
Yeah, all right. Meantime, I'll get.
Yeah, it's always been a feel good show. I mean, I can always appreciate that. And back in the day, Eddie Murphy was really funny.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. And hello there.
Hello.
Hi, glad you could join us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, it's always good to have people to speak with while discussing certain topics on entertainment today. Anyway, let's be. Shall we begin? Let me.
Sure.
Yeah, let me get the screen up and bring on our first top of the game. And here we go. Axel Foley, played by Eddie Murphy himself. And back in 1984, he sure know how to bring the laughs to the crowds coming into theaters back in the day. Yeah, he's really he was quite funny, really funny. Yeah, and he sure has quite the charm too. Yeah, yeah. His character starts off as a cop in well, as you all know, he starts off as a cop in Detroit who was trying to bust a certain gang a certain gang going on with illegal shipments. And if you actually saw what he was doing in the movie, yeah, it's quite funny how he was hanging onto the side of the truck for dear life and stuff. You know, while trying to struggle and yeah, you know,
But as a child, I lived in Michigan, and uh, yeah, it's an entirely different feeling and way than Beverly Hills is for sure.
yeah, they don't say. Well, I'm glad you came on. 'Cause yeah, I'm trying to look. Yeah, trying to. There was also a cop in Michigan who also co-starred with Murphy in this movie. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name. Yeah, I'm trying to
I
remember.
remember when these movies came out. There was always a lot of fun to go see it. I mean, everybody wanted to see them.
Yeah, they sure. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they sure have. Yeah. Anyway, trying to hang on. Man, some of this stuff is tricky to operate. Well, hang on. Trying to look up the name of the guy that appeared with Murphy in this movie. Yeah, let's see. Wow, it's such a variety. Who was that? Oh, Gilbert. Are you guys familiar with the actor called Gil Hill? You know, he was
Mm,
a you know,
no, I don't think so.
We would probably know if we've seen his face.
Yeah, that is true.
yeah, he played the inspector guy called Douglas Todd. You, you know, the guy who, yeah, let me show you. Yeah, this guy.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yep, Inspector Douglas Todd, played by late actor Gil Hill, who was also involved with the police force out in Michigan during his time too. But
So you saying like he was an actual cop?
from actual sources I've been looking up, by far, very much, very much, guys, very much. Yeah,
well, that's an interesting fact to find out. I didn't know that.
yeah. Neither have I until I learned about the actors' backgrounds. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, in this movie, Murphy's character knows how to get under this guy's skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
quite funny too. Yeah, he
It
even has.
is funny, but it's not very realistic. I don't believe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Noise. That's true. Yeah,
But
yeah,
there were definitely always feel good movies. I remember the '80s, and well, media and movies and all was generally better back then.
yeah. Even in the 2000s and the 90s as well.
It was a continuous downcline as time went on.
Yep. Yeah, and time went on.
well, that's like myself personally. I will hardly ever watch anything new that's made this year and above 2000. I always watch the older stuff because it had a
Yeah,
better story.
yeah. Most people today would rather watch older things as well because of what's been going on lately in the movie industry lately, guys. And I've been seeing it happening too, especially since the 2022 when that Strange World movie came out. And God, did it really cause such a, distur- you know, drove a
Yeah.
lot of people out of the theaters when they decided to inject it with things they shouldn't be. Yeah. Anyway, we all know what starts. We all know what brings Foley out of Michigan to start being a cop in Beverly Hills, California. You know, recognize this guy?
Yeah, that's his friend that gets killed.
Yep. And who and we know who the bad guy that killed him was, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, he played on the Breaking Bad.
Yep. Breaking Bad actor Jonathan Banks, who plays the secondary villain of this first movie, known as Zack. Yep. That's
And
one.
he also played on Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Well, Better Call Saul was a spin-off of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's also the same guy that played Commissioner Gordon in Batman Arkham Knight, which I deem as my favorite video game of all time too. Yeah, he, he's yeah. Jonathan Banks is quite an actor.
Yeah, he got his most recognition when he did Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad was definitely what put him on the map. I even heard he was yeah.
I remember Eddie Murphy before he was an actor when he was a comedian. And back then he was like the best comedian around. Of course, there was Richard Pryor before him.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm familiar with Richard Pryor. He yeah, he was also in one of the movies that W Warner Brothers back in the '80s sabotaged ahead of filming, which is precisely where I feel that much of where Hollywood, everything wrong with Hollywood today actually started because it's another story, but because of what happened over at Warner Brothers, they they ruined their movies so bad you wonder why everyone else would rather see movies coming out of Paramount like Beverly Hills Cop and stuff as well as Ghostbusters rather than superhero movies that have been watered down by studio interference and stuff. And believe me, this this first movie that gave the franchise a kickstart quite the success and the barrel of laughs folks needed to help get away from reality and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's escapism. It's a story, a feel good story, make you laugh, just for a little while, in a temporary escape from reality.
Yeah, yeah, and Eddie Murphy helped, much like George Lucas and his crew on the Star Wars trilogy, including Schwarzenegger, Willis, even Stallone, Claude Van Damme, many A-list actors. They helped provide the escapism many folks needed to get their minds out of politics and stuff. And
And
man, but
one thing they did right back then is great soundtracks.
yeah, that too. Yeah, they movies have great sound. Some movies even up to the right up to before the 2010s had great soundtracks as well. I mean, and
You know,
soon as
uh,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything bad about people who like rap, but rap doesn't have to be the only thing they put in the movies now. I don't get that.
yeah, I know, and they don't need to have to keep injecting some of the or older music from the 60s or the 80s in them either. Kind of like they've been putting into some of the Venom 3 trailers recently that kind of making some of us lose confidence in the film that's coming up on the 25th this month.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to the Venom movie simply because I'm a monster fanatic. I like monster movies, and that's why I want to see Venom. It's not for the other characters, it's strictly for the creature. I know that's terrible, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I like monster movies too. That's always been one of my favorite genres is monster movies.
Yeah, and and some of the movies under Sony spell have more interest in people for people, and Sony's got more interesting stuff for people like us to check out today than Disney does up until the shift.
And speaking of music for movies, we all can never forget the Godzilla. You know where it goes dun 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 dun
Yep.
dun dun. That was like from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, and Beverly Hills Cop has quite the familiar, iconic music in the films too, usually revolving around Axel Foley and his fellow detective squad,
Yeah,
hunting and busting crime.
yeah. If you hear the dun dun dun, dun you automatically know what that's from. You know.
Yep, Beverly Hills Cop,
Yeah, is what you would refer to as iconic.
definitely iconic. Yep,
But
real.
in the same genre of crime kind of cop films and stuff, there's a Beverly Hills Cop, but on the same vein as just as iconic as Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
And the head detective that played Monk in Monk, he played the Buffalo Bob or whatever he's called, where
oh,
Was
yeah, the
it
same.
or was it Buffalo Bill? I forget.
I do too. But it's the same actor that played, and then if you watch Monk, they do kind of a in one of the episodes they do kind of a tongue in cheek kind of joke towards that.
mhm.
It's
You know,
funny.
I know everyone remembers it puts lotion on its skin, but the line that sticks out for me is when the
Oh,
the woman
I
knocks on his
remember.
door and
Yeah,
he goes, "Was it a big old fat lady?" Or something along those lines.
Yeah,
and welcome, Breaking Ray Gun.
yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, glad you could join us.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, and
But
we just got started, and now we're here discussing who the villain that Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, was going up against and trying to bring down for the death of his friend Mikey. Russian, a Russian American called Victor Maitland. You know who this actor who plays him is, right?
yeah,
Steven Burkov. Yeah, a Russian actor born in England. Man, he sure knows how to play the most terrifying of characters, like Victor Maitland here. Who's said to have been, who was mentioned to, well, his character is said to be some kind of art dealer and something like that.
Yeah, I believe. I think he was like a art thief or something. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, to be fair, we come into this chat totally unprepared, but we're still happy to be here.
Hang on,
I
guys.
think someone's beating a keyboard to death.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you guys know about Victor Maitland so far? While I check out, what do you guys think of Victor Maitland so far? Being the villain of the first movie.
Well, it definitely comes off as kind of villainous.
He pulls off that no emotion kind of a boss kind of role very well. Because I mean, you get the like movies and TV shows. Well, one that comes to mind is The Sopranos, where they have to maintain the Italian kind of a feel to the movie because it's an Italian TV show, you know.
Yeah.
But this guy here, he pulls off the very
Yeah.
iconic Russian kind of a feel, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm evil Russian. Now give me your painting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
The 80s, they like to feature Russians as the villains in movies.
Yeah, they sure do. He was also in one of the James Bond movies, called Octopussy.
Classic.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
And then, yep.
I think it's because back at that time there was the Cold War going on and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and even today, America considers Russia somewhat of a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's being revived a little bit more today.
Uh-huh.
I know that in the Guy Ritchie had a movie Rock and Rolla in like 2010 or 2009, I think it came out, and the villain there was Russian that was based off of real life billionaire Mikhail Prokhorov, I think.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
And
him.
and he was basically just supposed to be based off of him, like this guy. I think in the movie he owned like one of the soccer clubs in England. He was like a big painting guy.
Yeah.
They kind of sprinkled him around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And they even do, and they seem to be doing it even harder now in the video games, kind of like the Call of Duty games, for example. Anyway, we all know that what went down. We all know how this thing goes. Anyway, anyway, here is this woman that Axel Foley meets that was working for Victor Maitland at the start of her introduction. You know who this is, right?
Well, I can't say I know her name, but unless I'm mistaken, she was in a lot of 80s movies.
Yeah. I just cannot remember her name for the life of me, though.
Oh, I better take a look. Let's see. Yeah, God, I need to check something out. The character's name is Jenny, and she was played by Lisa Elbacher. Elbacher. Yeah, that's the woman. That's yeah. This is yeah. That's her name, Lisa Elbacher. Yeah,
Huh.
she was the female lead in this movie.
You know, it
Or
was odd
Botcher.
as we recently seen the movie, but I suppose we watched the newest one last, and that's the one that's freshest in my mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I do believe that the new one, it tried to capture some of the essence that the original had, but it kind of fell short just a little bit.
I know what you mean because it was missing one because was missing a spicy ingredient that the first two to three had.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Yeah, and the story of Axel's daughter, to me anyway, seemed kind of shoehorned into the story.
understand. Yeah, I understand. Also, since his first introduction to working with these guys, they kind of and you know what these two characters were. They have been following Foley wherever he goes since they first met. You know, while he was looking to hunt down and dig up some dirt on Victor Maitland over the death of his buddy Mikey. Yeah, you also remember that scene where he puts a banana inside their tailpipe? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the three actors had very good chemistry together.
yeah, they sure did. Yeah, and
You know,
just
that really works.
yeah, yeah,
You mean the banana and the tailpipe?
Yeah.
yeah. That.
It really
Yeah,
works.
Mhm. I saw that in like some documentary in Africa where there's like a bunch of truck drivers driving around there, and then they'll like stop by, and then yeah, like they'll look for bananas and then put it in the tail. Or was it
yeah,
by the back?
yeah. He sure made fools out of them when he snuck those things up the tailpipe to Taggert and Billy's car. Yeah, they were having difficulty driving, trying to that they kept on hitting the brakes automatically because the exhaust pipes couldn't handle the intake. You know,
Yeah,
being plugged up so long. Yeah, it was a stroke of comedic genius.
Yeah, they had him very mischievous, laughing everything off, pranking all the time, breaking all the rules. But I would say if he had a gift, it would be luck. He had the gift of good luck.
Yep, good luck indeed. Yeah, he has been
that
quite a
was the
menace.
case with all Hollywood movies.
Uh huh. Yep, and Murphy, and he, yeah, yeah. I gotta give Murphy a lot of credit too. He really knows how to bring the best laughs out of everything back in his days.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, he had more energy to, for the bits when he was younger. When they did the latest Netflix movie, you could tell he didn't have the same energy for it.
no, no, but I still enjoyed it though. It was better than watching most of the woke stuff that you've been getting this year.
Yeah, I watched it hesitantly, wondering how much they were going to ruin it. And it turned out it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it was worth watching too, especially with all the shootouts and stuff going on, like you do see here in the three films that came before it.
Another movie that recently came out that I enjoyed was the new Deadpool movie. I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a hit because the Deadpool actor, uh, whatever his name, he
Right.
uh, he he really pushed for there not to be pandering and DEI and all such in the movie.
Hmm.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Hey,
don't know.
he kind of
It was mostly Ryan Reynolds making the push, but the Hugh Jackman he supported him to some extent as well.
Mhm.
That's some mad typing going on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been trying to. I was, I was chatting with a fellow YouTuber and friend of mine who just joined us on Discord lately, who goes by the name Ali Simi. Yeah, she's a nice one. She seems to be into novels as as am I, and she goes by Rocket Raider on YouTube and stuff. Well, anyway, but yeah, the shootouts were interesting, and yeah, look familiar with right here with this thing, with Taggert and Billy taking cover
Ye-
behind the ceramic sculpture. Well,
Yeah.
look,
Then they do the same thing in the first movie.
yeah, yep, taking cover after taking some serious gunfire
Yeah,
from the
the action sequences were done very well. Now, unrealistic, sure, but it is escapism. It is a fun movie, and it did its job well.
yeah, yeah,
Hey,
totally.
Noise. You remember Bottle Rocket Wars?
Oh yeah,
That's what this reminds me of.
Yep, me too. Well, yeah, that too. Yeah. Throughout most of the film, Foley was trying to get under Maitland's case. But later on, soon as they discovered of what they were keeping inside his secret stash, they ended up getting caught. But yeah, they took Maitland had his goons take Jenny hostage, while one of them that was in Michigan stayed behind to try to finish Foley off. But luckily, it was thanks to a guy called Billy that Foley was saved, and they were able to get out of there and confront the bad guys over at Maitland's mansion. Yeah, yeah, bad guys. As you see right here, yeah, Maitland and Zach took off before Axel got rescued. But also along the way, they were also dealing with other cops that were on their tail too.
oh yeah, and they were doing a much worse job at telling him, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm. They sure were. Yeah, they sure were, guys. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Well, you had Eddie Murphy, a great comedian. You had a great soundtrack. So the story writer and the director finished it off. You have to give credit where credit is due. If there was a weak link anywhere, I believe the movie franchise would have failed.
Yeah, they would have failed if if they didn't if they didn't have the right people for the job back then.
Although that being said, the newest one, which is many years apart from the others, I don't believe it has a good soundtrack.
Right. Yeah, because much of what's been going on lately has been contracting so much. Yeah. And and as soon as they got to the place, they finally started putting once they finally got to Maitland's mansion for the shootout, Axel Foley was the Taggert and Billy were able to put their differences with Axel aside as they joined him on taking on Maitland and his goons. Yeah, the shootout. It was quite interesting too.
I suppose that's a major plot turning point to where they become less adversarial and more supportive of Axel when, I suppose they see that he's a good guy and they see a little bit of what might really be going on, and then they unify together.
Yep, they unified, and all it took was to get for themselves to go following him into the mansion and getting themselves shot at without having to take a bullet for once. Yep, and inside the yeah, and luckily, as soon as they Foley got inside, you know what Foley does before he confronts Victor Maitland? Yeah, this guy, he, he finally gets this. Yeah, Foley finally takes down the guy that killed his buddy Mikey, which is this guy over here. Zach, aka Jonathan Banks. Yeah, finally does.
A big shot that thinks they're above the law. And of course, the story goes Eddie Murphy doing things Detroit style. He's out for revenge. He's not afraid to break rules to get it.
Right on. Yeah, and then they finally confronts Victor Maitland. We all know what he does to him. He had to rescue Jenny, so they had to immediately so then they had to immediately take down. They had to really immediately take this guy out by shooting him, and of course, Axel said that he was going to kill him for threatening Jenny's life, and so he did. And in the end, and they were lucky to save her, and they were lucky to save her too.
And I suppose in a way it also represented black culture in a way that could make them proud. They seen Eddie Murphy doing like this and they're like, yeah, that's what I do. And that probably helped it all along too.
Yeah, excuse me. Be sure to talk some more on the thing. I'll be right back. I got a phone call to make.
And this movie had a character, unless I'm mistaken, the actor's name is Paul Reiser, which he went on to be more well known in his own TV show. It was something sappy. I can't recall it right now. It had something to do with him in a relationship. Now, of course.
Oh, that guy's a big actor.
Oh yeah. But he was mostly known in the 90s, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think he was in what is it, Mad About You?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, sappy.
Yeah.
To me, I thought it was sappy.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, and then I wonder if he was in any of the other 90s shows. I know that now he's like on like what are those like commercials? Like was it some debt commercial?
Yeah, it seems like I vaguely remember him being on some commercial. And with today's young generation, I'm sure they have no clue who he is.
Right. I remember like I saw him like, hey, this guy, I don't even like his accent sounded different too, and I was like, man, is this the same guy that was there? Like, what happened? He's on these like commercials talking about like credit card companies and stuff.
Yeah, lots of companies too. And now we're up. Yeah, now. Are we ready to start? Are we ready to start exploring number 2 of the thing? Beverly Hills Cop 2. All right, let me get this up. Yeah, because number 2 was a lot funnier than the first one. I have to admit, guys. 'Cause, man, Axel really knows how to spice up his charm and funny. Over here. I mean, in this movie, you guys will know that soon that here Axel Foley was reunited with Taggert and Billy to to crack a case on who would want to take out their fellow lieutenant in Beverly Hills. And along the way, Axel got and you guys should have seen this. He went and stole a house just by telling construction workers to leave for a while. And look at him, man.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
there's real stories of people who have done such things like that before.
yeah, stealing people's
Uh,
houses just by telling construction workers to go off duty for a while. And man, yeah, he sure was wacky, funny. And, yeah, wow, yeah, really, really funny. Yeah,
yeah, of course, today people are more wise to scams like that. But yeah, I've known people who would have and probably have done such things as that.
yeah, 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 such stuff.
Oh, plus, you know, now with cameras everywhere, that creates a real problem.
Uh-huh. You bet it does. Also, yeah. Whew, wow. Yeah, I'm feeling a little tired, but here we have Jack Taggart, aka the Judge John Ashton. You know, he passed away last month on the 26th. You know this actor who played Taggart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a yep. So sad that so sad we lost him. We could have had
Yep.
him.
Yeah. He just made it just for the movie.
Well, you know, a lot of the old great ones are dying off now,
Yeah.
and the young people today have never even heard of them and doesn't, you know, it's like they speak a different language or something.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Taggart and Billy, the actors who played the characters, were a lot funnier in this second film than they were in the first, simply by slipping into swimming pools, getting themselves into deep trouble, and going gun crazy too.
But I take it that they feel they found what worked with the audience with the first movie, and then they fine tuned it for the second movie, and you know what worked the best, they added more of. That's how I take it to be.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah. There was also a shooting range that Foley and the guys were investigating under were going gone out went undercover uh, i- into during their search for Maxwell Dent. Along the way, Foley meets up with this tall blonde woman who is responsible for the hit on their lieutenant in you know the same person that was responsible for the hit on the lieutenant that got him over back into L.A. To work with Taggart and Billy again. Yeah, I mean this woman right here, she is tall.
Yeah, that's Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah, there was a comment in the movie about her being like 6 foot or something. And you know, the oddity is that today the girls are getting to be 6 foot regularly, and I mean the natural females are. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bridget Nielsen was married to Sylvester Stallone for a while.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, and she was also in the fourth Rocky movie with him. You know, as the wife of Draco.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, Dolph Lundgren, he got, I don't remember in what, but he got a scientific degree. You know, he went to a higher college. So, you know, not only is he like you know, a weightlifter, a kickboxer, he's a scientist too. That man is unbelievable.
Yeah, I
I
think it was in
think,
physics or something. Masters in physics or astrophysics.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just got his U.S. citizenship finally.
Yeah, he sure did. Anyway, there's more to show on the second Beverly Hills Cop movie, guys. I'm gonna bring it up. Also, of course, the investigation in this movie, much like the first, doesn't go easily done as planned when it comes to, what that people are trying to get away from the real world in. Recognize this guy,
Um.
Harold Lutz. You know, Billy said that this guy was political. Billy said that Chief Harold Lutz was political. You know,
Oh
for
yeah.
for not taking the crime seriously and just finding easy ways to get out. Yeah, this is the this guy was this guy did this guy was a bad cop. He he was, yeah, and at the end of the movie, you we all, yeah, and he yeah we see,
Which brings to mind another thing. That was back in a time where people didn't look at cops as automatically the enemy, which they do today. Now, whether it's more earned today or not, you know, I'm not gonna speak on that.
yeah,
But that
these are
just
my
back then, they didn't see the cops as the enemy like they generally do today.
very true, very true. Yeah, and boy, I hope you guys enjoyed this scene where the cops were arguing with each other on what the real of what they were really investigating and who the real enemy was. And was it really funny for them to exchange back to back heat in a heated way, telling each other to shut up, that they got the mayor fed up and fired Lutz and the and other police representative for not doing their job. Yeah, that was funny. Oh, and look what this movie also featured.
Oh, nice.
Uh, Gilbert
Yep.
Godfrey.
Yeah, Gilbert Godfrey.
He's dead now too. I
Yeah,
remember when he died. It was, I don't remember. It was a few years ago at least.
yeah,
He was quite the popular comedian back then too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I even heard him voice Iago from the Aladdin movie, and he voiced this character from Superman that is kind of like a mystic nymph, Mr. Mitchell. And also, is Hollywood losing too many talents more than ever?
Well, there's like 5 people that died this past week.
Yeah, and plenty.
James
Yeah,
Earl Brown.
Yeah,
Hollywood is losing their greatest. That much is for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, that's very true, guys. Very true. We've been losing quite a lot of popular talent lately, and the biggest one we've lost this year was James Earl Jones, Darth Vader himself.
Yeah, and of course, he was quite well known for his role in Conan.
Yeah.
And most iconic of all, Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was his biggest. Of course, he did a voice in The Lion King, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Mufasa. Yep. Yeah, and if they are trying to do a couple more move sequels for Eddie Murphy franchise, how do you think they're going to even continue with or without the well? How do you think they're going to manage without John
Uh,
Ashton?
or like if they try to make a new Beverly Hills movie, well, I think they would have to try to find a stand-in with him. Of course, a different character, but someone who has similar chemistry. That's
Yeah,
probably how I would imagine the way they would do it.
Same here.
That would
No,
be kind of hard to find, though, wouldn't it?
yeah, lots of yeah, especially with what Hollywood's become today.
Maybe they could get Gene Hackman.
Or if they give in to pandering, it will be like some big black woman.
Yep.
Oh no, that'd be awful.
Lizzo.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you
you'll be left wondering what's really under that skirt.
Well,
Mm-hmm. Yep, and now we come to the villain of the second movie, Maxwell Dent. You know, this guy was a German actor who played a German villain from Germany who was trying to get some weapons shipped down to Costa Rica and other places in Latin America. Illegal weapons shipment. Yeah, you all know who this Maxwell Dent is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't believe they would have fully run into him at the Playboy Mansion too. Which is, yeah, quite wild for the movie industry to do. Yeah, yeah, and we gotta hand it to Judge Reynolds for his performance as Billy. Man, he was sure hog wild with those shotguns when he took down some of Dent's men.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one development they made different from the first movie is he suddenly became a gun nut.
yeah, a gun nut.
I'm not sure if that really fit in. I don't know unless they're implying that, a wildness was unleashed from him from his adventures with Axel from the first movie. Maybe that's what they were getting at.
yeah, that's what it seemed like. He got his cherry bust, and then he couldn't get enough.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Like
Yeah,
he
because
was
it's
gonna
like his
make
face is
some
so
noise of
innocent.
his own.
Because his
Yeah.
face is so innocent, and then he's like, "Wow, Axel, you're the man."
He sure is. Yeah, yeah. The funny man in the funny pool. Yeah, gun nut. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Dent, yeah, yeah. We all know what happened to him. Foley was inside the. Yeah, Foley was inside confronting Dent inside one of the buildings, and he shot him in the head, straight up in the skull. Yeah, the shootout. Yeah, he shot Dent right in the forehead, right before Taggert came in to save his ass from the tall from Carla. Yeah, yeah, you know.
Yeah, there's
But
just so many great names attached to these movies, like of course Eddie Murphy and Gilbert Godfrey and Brigitte Nielsen and there
yeah,
was the man that kept calling him Axwell.
Axel.
Well, he was never a real big actor. I always really enjoyed the things that he was in.
Yeah,
Oh, I remember he was in a TV series called, I believe it was called Perfect Strangers.
huh? Yeah, yeah. That's one of the interesting shows too. Oh, oh yes. And after Taggert, oh yeah, and after Taggert fell into the pool, he had to change into someone else's clothes at the mansion too. Yeah, that was funny. That pool scene was real funny. Yeah, and Axel. Yeah, Axel knows how to give him quite a headache too. while while out on their adventure in the city.
What tickled me about the scenes where they would be on the stakeout in the car, where he would order them room service.
Oh yeah, that was wacky and hysterical.
Well, I mean, he was nice enough to order him room service, so they can't be too mad at him.
Nope.
It's like what he did. It was mischievous, but not malice. So it made him a likable character.
Yeah, real likable. Yep. Yeah, women. Yeah, that's what Taggart remarks to Foley. Yeah, John Ashton. Yeah, yeah. He was funny too. He helped make the movie funny. He went with it by pulling off that scene of him saving Foley from Carla Fry. Yeah, he sure felt embarrassed by falling into that pool and getting laughed at by Eddie Murphy. Yeah, I can't believe they pulled this off. Yeah, and it was so funny, guys. I could watch it again if it was on Netflix right away.
What struck me about the Axel Foley character is he came from Detroit, Michigan, and he went
Yeah.
to Beverly Hills, and he could have, been like, oh my God, I don't belong here. These are not my people. But no, he just chose to have fun with it and laugh at them all.
Yeah, yeah, and they had him thrown out the glass door in the first film, which I found funny when he also made that remark to them. I'm trying to find this picture. And as for Billy, yeah, it was also hysterical when he picked up this rocket launcher and he blew up a truck and Taggart says, "Fuck Rambo."
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the truth is I think every one of us here, if we ever got a hold of a rocket launcher, we'd be having some fun like that too. I mean, come on. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
like to see something blow up just a little bit?
Yeah, but not with innocent people around.
Oh no, not people, no people. But I mean, just like a car or something,
Yeah, an empty
Yeah.
car or yeah, kind of like we saw. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if there's any more plans for further movies.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah. Same here.
I doubt it'd go on too much further because Eddie Murphy's not young anymore.
No, he's not.
Yeah, and I don't know if he wants to keep doing this. I think this was just kind of like one of those like sequels that he's been doing, just like the Coming to America, just to kind of like go over all the older IPs and kind of just see what happens. But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see him
Uh,
doing
I,
this
I
too much.
miss the days when he was in these good movies, and he does these like real kid family friendly movies now all the time.
Yeah,
I miss when he did more straight comedy.
right. Yeah, comedy's outlawed now.
right on.
Yeah, it's hard to do comedy because how sensitive people are.
Well, I know like comedians like Andrew Dice
It's easier to just
Clay
make
and
like sex.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay and people like that. They couldn't have a career nowadays.
Nope. Sadly, they couldn't. But now we come to the third Beverly Hills Cop movie where Foley goes kicked on bad guys while that are headquartered inside an amusement park. Yeah, kind of like a parody of Disney World. Oh, and
Yeah, that was for sure a fun movie.
yeah, not the best,
So
but not the but it wasn't that bad. But it was okay. I mean, and take a
Steven
look at
Spielberg on screen, I believe.
and George Lucas as you're looking at right
Yeah,
here.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they gave him they had him cameo in this film as someone that Foley was messing around with, and he, yeah, yeah. Who would have thought George Lucas would actually appear here in Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Maybe he was a fan of the franchise.
Yeah, and he was a fan of NASCAR, which explains the pod racer thing in episode 1. Yeah, yeah. George Lucas. Anyway, oh, and it did feature some scary things like, whew, stupid.
Mm-mm.
Axel Foley climbing up a
Mm-mm.
Ferris wheel to save some children from falling off. Man, that was quite
Mm-mm.
scary.
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Those
neither.
kids would just have to fall. I couldn't do it. Like, nope. Somebody get a damn
Or you be yelling at him, wave your arms real fast.
yeah, get a big blow up mattress or something for them to fall on. I couldn't get up there and get them. I'd want to, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, neither would I unless someone was looking to back me up by making sure the kids made it safely onto the ground.
I would do it if I was put before that situation. I would most definitely do it.
I know you would, Noise. I have no doubt.
Same here. Anyway,
Well, I mean, you did go riding on the top of the vehicle before.
Oh, I've done that 100 times.
Yeah, I know.
mm-hmm. But guess who Murphy runs into in this movie? And you're looking at her right here.
Is that Vanessa Williams?
No, this woman. This is an actress who plays the woman that Axel Foley falls in love with and marries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Feel free to yeah. Feel free to talk about it while I take care of something real fast. Feel free to talk about the third film while I yeah. Feel free to chat about the characters while I take care of something.
Well, I seen this, and I was young. I wasn't quite a little kid, but I was young, and I remember seeing the amusement area, like where the robots and where the ride goes sideways. Isn't that what it does?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, it kind of intrigued me, and I've never even been to Disney World or any such place. I've never been to any of them, and it kind of made me wonder: is like, do they really have stuff like that there? I also believe they would have had Eddie Murphy get with the white woman from the previous movie, but it wasn't as accepted back then.
Very true.
Yeah, true.
The woman there definitely looks familiar, but I can't place a name.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get to the next tab and we'll identify her even better. Hang on. Let me get the screen up. Yeah. All right. Janice Perkins. Hang on. Hang on. Her name's Janice Perkins. The character's name is Janice Perkins, who was actually played by an actress called. Hang on. Hang on. Let me check this up. Theresa Randall. She was the actress who played this woman was called is named Vanessa Randall. Yeah, that's who plays Janice in this movie.
Yeah, I believe I recognize her for being in other movies. I just always never knew what her name was.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, it's like where
Oh
do
wow, she was in Spawn.
yes, thank you.
Wow. She was she played Juanita Jordan in Space Jam, Jordan's wife.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and she was in Bad Boys too.
Bad Boys 2, yeah. Although I don't know what role she played there because I'm pretty sure I thought it was Gabrielle Union was like the love interest.
Yeah. Yep, she sure was. Yeah, I don't know what happened to 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 Randall afterwards.
Oh, apparently she's in Bad Boys for Life also.
Oh, oh, she was. That's interesting.
Yeah, weird. So like they didn't put her in what was that was was there a Bad Boys 3 before Bad Boys Ride or Die? Ride or
Yeah, there
Die?
was. Yes, there was.
Before Bad Boys for Life, was there a third one?
Yes, yes, there
So
was.
they didn't put her in Bad Boys 3 and they didn't put her in Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Yeah, that was kind of a strange move the studio
That's
made.
strange. Let's see. She plays Teresa Burnett. Yeah, I don't know. Did they like change Lawrence's wife or something?
Yeah, something. Yeah, something like that. Well, oh yeah.
Oh no, so no, there wasn't a so Bad Boys for Life was the third one. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they
Yep.
put her in the 2 and 3, and then in the fourth one they didn't put her in.
So it was gonna be the next movie, Bad Boys After Life.
After exactly at this point.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, in this third Beverly Hills Cop film, she was with Axel and portions of the film, including this scene where she was showing him something right on the table before before he had to put on that elephant mask on his costume. But yeah, I mean, kind of big. Yeah, it's what they do in the theme parks. Go underground to dress up as theme park characters to entertain the guests that are out when walking. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I wonder.
such a scheme like that, you might could actually get away with it to an extent because you're fully covered. They take you as a park worker. It could actually work quite well.
Yeah, it really could. It sure would too. Yeah, anyhow. Yeah, yeah, it sure would. And now we should come. We should also come to the next part of this third film that we also need to discuss, and that would be the villain. You know, called Ellis DeWald. Yeah, I haven't seen the entirety of the third film, he is the bad guy, and he somehow well,
Yeah, this one, unlike the previous villains, they made him come off like a nice guy to the public, like extra nice, not so gangster like the others.
yeah, exactly.
That was a good choice. I believe that's the right way to go because it's getting a little redundant with the villains each time.
Sure was. Yeah.
And it is true. A lot of these nice guy type celebrities are just complete asses in reality. That is all too often
Totally.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure are. Hmm. Yeah, but also unlike but unlike but unlike movies 1, 2, and 4, number 3 had someone missing that was part of the reason this one didn't perform well at the box office, and it was missing and and it was missing John Taggert, who they replaced with this actor right here, Hector Alonso, you- as one of Foley's colleagues. Yeah, they replaced John Ashton with Hector Alonso for the third film.
Yeah, and I don't believe the chemistry was as good with that actor.
No, clearly it was certainly not. Yeah, yeah, he didn't seem to have much of the flavor that Ashton carried in the second film. Or
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad actor. He just didn't work the chemistry with those particular actors, I believe.
no, sadly not. Yeah, kind of fell flat too. I mean, yeah, he just
Yeah.
didn't.
They were like, hey, he's bald.
You know, some actors have good chemistry and others have to work a little bit harder, you know.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. And this being in a movie in 1994, 10 years after the first one in 1984. Who would have thought that that a third film that wouldn't do as well as the second would come out in '94? Yeah, these two are him being in the office with Judge Reynolds and Eddie Murphy. Yeah, kind of fell flat. But the film did have some funny parts in it.
Yeah, the third movie did feel diminished compared to the previous two, but I did like the theme park. I think that went over well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and there was also one where Foley was using some sort of gun that didn't. I mean, yeah, something. Yeah, yeah, it was kind of funny. This thing was Foley using a weird-looking gun to fight two guys in a theme park and blew up one of them with a behind. Yeah, that kind of gun.
Oh yeah, it's the gun he got from the one that always calls him Axel.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This gun right here.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
You could call that
yeah,
the BFG, like in the gun in Doom.
yeah. Gun and Doom. Who knew? Yeah,
Be
he sure
nice to
blew
have a
up.
weapon like that, but it would be cumbersome.
Totally cumbersome. Still, he put up quite a show with that thing, as he did. Oh, wait, hold on. As he did with some of the guys on the tracks. Yeah, I mean, when he was having trouble getting that gun to work, he had to hide behind the bench to take cover from shooting bullets that were coming at him, and he was able to take them both out with it just before going deep into the tunnel to deal with the rest of DeWald's thugs. I mean, and on the rides too.
Yeah, much of the humor was derivative of slapstick humor. It was a physical bit of comedy, and
Yep,
it worked well.
yeah, it sure did. Even with the rides as a home court advantage, Heck, even using one of the dead guys to mislead them out of the over into the over well, just to get flushed by so much of the water coming down. Man, this movie was something, even though it was not a successful one. Hang on. Yeah, and here, yeah, and the final confrontation between Axel and Duvall took place on the dinosaur ride. Yeah, heck, he even and I kind of remember seeing one scene with him counterfeit money. I think I remembered another scene. Recognize these? Yeah, let me bring this up. See these bills that he printed out?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. The way he just printed his own photo and picture and had the words "kiss my ass" slandered onto each of those dollar bills. Man, that was really hysterical. Yeah, it was enough to drive this guy nuts into getting himself killed by Foley right away. Man, I can't. Wow. Yeah, it's something. I mean, counterfeit money. It was, right? You know, was this counterfeit money that he discovered before using it to print his own picture on? Oh, I mean, it kind of looks like counterfeit money that he discovered in the place.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were using the paper because U.S. money takes a particular kind of paper, and they were using the store dollars as a way to counterfeit or launder the money, something along those lines.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, counterfeit money, the common crime that people tend to try to get away with doing in case they can't have what they want or get the money they want legally out of banks. They always got to counterfeit stuff just to make themselves feel good and look rich.
Yeah, well, counterfeiting in this day and age has become very difficult to do for all the techniques that they put into U.S. currency. And not to mention other like European currency or Canadian currency has more plastics in their bills.
Yep. Yeah, and it's a shame too that we're not going to be that some of well, anyway. Also, also if you've seen this of what, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, I do, and yeah, this scene was very funny. Him printing his own face in those crazy ass words on the label thing just to take this guy down. Yeah, that was so funny. I couldn't, and it still had the chemistry of jokes, just that they weren't as well. You get the point.
Yeah, it had a lot of good and funny bits in that movie. Uh, I'm not sure why it didn't come off as well as the previous two, but it definitely had its good moments.
Yeah, it sure did. It really did. Yeah. Anyway, what I also felt that kind of felt flat too was how Foley handled taking out the villain, you know, and how it he ended up accidentally shooting this guy right right that was with him and Reynolds. I mean, see you see them all right here in this photo.
Yeah.
You know, now I think about it, the way that the Deadpool movies are done now, this was kind of a precursor to it. He would have been like, in essence, the '80s Deadpool.
Huh.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I didn't
yeah.
think about it quite like that.
Neither have I. Yeah, this movie was something.
But what you can do, or what I like to do a lot of times, is with these older movies like that have more than one or two. I like to watch them all, back to back, to compare how they've changed over the years and the way they're made and all that kind of stuff. I think that's fun.
I just hope they don't go rebooting this franchise. And another one that I really like is the Back to the Future franchise. And I really hope they don't reboot that.
Yeah, and I hope they don't go rebooting John Wick or any, and they don't even do any more remakes of Magnificent Seven. I mean, the last one was really awesome. And I certainly would not go remaking it over any excuse of certain types. Not agenda, nothing. Leave them alone.
I guess the question comes down to, can any of us choose a movie that they should remake, because we know how they make movies now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
none.
of course.
None.
Yeah, we,
Just
very
figure
true.
out something on your own, and if it flops, then it's time for someone new to head these Hollywood organizations.
Well, it's a lot like, games. They don't really listen to the people. They're always trying to push their own agenda into everything.
They're in their own echo chamber, and that's the problem. They think everyone thinks like their echo chamber thinks.
Uh huh.
Like classics like Lord of the Rings and the Conan movies
And look
but
what they did to the Hellraiser. I mean, okay, after the first Hellraiser movie, the rest were, a lot of crap and some B movies. But I mean, the original. And now look at how they made it. They remade it recently, and no one really recalls it very much because it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
did we watch that? I can't remember if I watched that movie or not.
Yeah, and it's no good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I didn't
sad
even
when you
hear about
can't
it.
remember.
I didn't even hear about it.
Now we come to the fourth film. Axel Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Eddie Murphy makes his return as the iconic character after 30 years since the third film and 40 years since the first.
Well, for his age, I thought he did pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, he still did pretty good. And wow, he's, yeah, and if you guys seen the snowplow thing, let me bring that up. Excuse me. Wow, shame the internet can't give you specific, but hey, yeah, look, and this is who we. Well, man, I'm kind of lost for words tonight, fellas. I mean, wow, still, I'm all right. Yeah,
I
lots of
think
time.
this I think this movie is it does fairly well to be a newer movie, and it did almost capture some of the original feeling, that the other movies had.
I just wish I had a better soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
yeah, the soundtrack Yeah, the soundtrack was one of the issues with this thing. Yeah, people wanted. Yeah, people are also looking for new soundtracks and stuff like this too. Not just characters and acting.
Oh, everyone's so hung up on hip hop now. They think rock and roll is a old timer thing or a kid thing. I don't know. It's like they grew up with hip hop and they think it's the only kind of music now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But, you know, I often had the thought, as many times as he's had to go to Beverly Hills and California and all that, I don't see why he just don't move out there.
Cost of living, maybe.
All right, thank you, Parkin Mad. Of course. Anyway, in this movie, we are introduced to his daughter, and, and she's standing right next to him. Her name's Jane, played by Taylor Page. Hang on.
She looks familiar, but I can't say that I recognize her in any other movies.
Yeah, yeah. This actress plays Axel Foley's daughter, who was being threatened by. Yeah, she was being threatened by some of the thugs in the movie, which is what brought her father over to Beverly Hills to make sure she was safe. And eventually they ended up working together to start taking on the bad guys and are joined by another person who is said to be her ex-boyfriend.
Well, to me, her her disdain, her dislike of her father in the movie of Axel, I think it was a little off-putting.
Yeah,
I can understand her having father issues. I just think it was a little heavy-handed.
yeah, yeah, heavy-handed. Wow, man, it's
I,
nothing black.
I think you're right. I think if they'd
Excuse me,
dialed
this thing
it
is
back just a little bit,
hang
it
on.
would have came off a lot better.
Well, I'm glad you. Yeah, well, yeah. Ah, here we go. Yeah, here's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I'm sure know you've known from previous movies over the past couple decades. He plays the the ex-boyfriend of Axel Foley's daughter Jane. Someone, yeah, someone
Wasn't
named.
he in Third Rock from the Sun?
Yep. I think that's
That,
where you got to start.
yeah, that's. I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah, I don't keep up with many modern TV shows and such, but yeah, that's what I recognize him from.
Mhm.
He kind of became like a pretty. I think like maybe like 10 years ago he started, starring in a bunch of movies, and afterwards. So he's like that one guy you just saw from that sitcom, and he actually became like a Hollywood star.
Yeah,
It must be nice.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And who would have thought that Axel would be working with both of them in this film? Yeah, and I remember watching a scene in this movie where the two exes had to come back together and pretend that they were married or stuff like that. While they were paying a visit to Sarge at his home, while Foley was looking out back to see what the bad guys were up to. Yeah, I remember watching that scene where they paid Sarge a visit. Oh, yeah, he was in Brick. Thank you, Parking Mad. That too.
Yeah, I believe those two that are on screen now, I believe they had all right chemistry. I thought that worked all right, fairly well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, same here.
Well, from everything that over the years that I've read, that Eddie Murphy is kind of easy to work with on the set and stuff for the most part.
Hmm. Yeah, he was. And we come to the villain of the film. You know, was played by Kevin Bacon. And here we
I've
are.
always liked his roles. You know, the movies he's been in. I've always liked his stuff.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon, aka Cade Grant. Yeah, in this scene, he reveals himself to be the villain of, of the movie as he reveals himself to Axel Foley at a party that he meets, that he runs into two of Jane's harassers, and yeah, those two guys that were harassing his daughter at the beginning. They work for the Cade Grant, who was police captain of the Beverly Hills Police Force. Yeah, and he was looking to shut them down too. Yeah, yeah, so much. Yeah, he was quite a smooth villain in the film.
I believe there's only three things holding the movie back. One, that it was released on Netflix. Two, the soundtrack. And three, Eddie Murphy doesn't have the same energy he had when he was younger.
Right. Yeah, he really didn't have much of the same energy.
Yeah. I mean, he is like 60 years old, I think, in this movie, so not surprised.
Yeah, 60.
He's an older man.
Yeah,
He
and
doesn't look older, but he is.
there's no telling what he might have been on back in the day when he was much younger.
This
Right.
is very true.
No telling what
Yeah.
he's on when he's older. Different
This
kind
is
of drug.
also true. Yeah.
Viagra, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Maybe on some antacids.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and here is Taggert, Ashton, having been promoted to commissioner in this movie, and where and they reunited too, and he reunited with Foley as well after being absent in the third film. And such a shame that Ashton died. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he also helped to keep. Oh, Cyphex. Hey there, Cyphex.
But I think that the three of those actors have very good chemistry together.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could tell like they were trying very hard not to get tickled and mess up their lines and all this kind of stuff when they're trying to have a straight face and be all serious.
Yeah. Quite so. Quite so. Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. This film definitely marked as a reunion for the cast of the original films. Shame we lost them. Yeah, we certainly have. But it was quite good to see that he came back, as did as that as the other guy, you know, the guy that played Billy. He came back as well.
Yeah,
Hang on.
the guy that played Billy,
Oh, this stuff is.
I think he got his start in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
really
I
like to
figured.
see Eddie Murphy
Yeah.
do more
Bring
straight
our stuff
comedies,
from-
comedy action, whatever the case may be, rather than all these Disney family movies that he likes to do these days.
I
But
think that's what he was trying to get back
Me too.
into.
I suppose
Yeah.
that's where the big money is at, Disney. But I don't know. Disney's kind of going downhill.
Yeah, I don't remember last time he was in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I know that he started doing stand up like not that long ago, like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I think he tried getting back into stand up again.
Yeah,
I think
he sure
as he
did.
got older, he kind of wanted to get back to what he was used to be doing.
Well, I think maybe a lot of that came from the climate, the social climate that everybody's stuck in now, and maybe he was kind of scared to dip his toe back into his original comedy action stuff because of that, and he just took the Disney stuff because it made him a lot of money and it was a little bit safer.
Yeah. Yeah, but even if it was safe, it still came with a price tag on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
free.
forgot he was in that movie You People. I don't know what that. I've never seen.
Oh,
It was like him and Jonah Hill. I I remember seeing like a commercial for it. I just was never intrigued to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny is watching these old rappers like Ice Cube and Ice T now being in family movies and things like that. And that's funny.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They are very out of place. I mean, for anybody that remembers their career when they first got started, they're very out of place trying to do
Well,
family movies and stuff.
I would say it was a smart move because you know the whole gangster lifestyle. You know, it's the smart move.
Yeah, that is true.
I think a lot of the comedians, a lot of these comedians were in like family shows and movies, but they were like a lot of them were like raunchy when they started. It wasn't just Eddie Murphy, but it was that guy from Full House. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah.
The dad, like he was pretty raunchy. I mean, Robin Williams was in a ton of family movies. He had raunchy comedies, like or stand ups. Tim Allen was kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know if his was stand up was so raunchy, but it was definitely different than just like the common family man. I think like a lot of times like comedians will start off like all of them, Martin Lawrence, like all of them were like raunchy kind
You
of
just
adult.
look
Yeah.
at Pee Wee Herman. You know,
Oh
Paul Rubin, I believe was his name.
yeah.
But
Just a
to
medium
my
size.
knowledge, he actually started out in Cheech and Chong movies.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, me too. We've had plenty of great comedians back in the old days, but now, where have they gone? Where have they gone?
Into
Yeah,
hiding.
comedy itself is kind of disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Well, I mean, you can't really say anything. You can't make jokes like you used to, because somebody's going to get offended.
Right.
I think also like it's just not as it's more prominent on like social media and online and on YouTube, like more so than in like Hollywood at this point. Like they'll have like Netflix specials like Chappelle or something like that, or like Bill Burr. But like I feel like there's not really a big good new wave. There are like there's like that I forgot that guy with the mustache that does like the good Trump impersonations. Like I guess he's kind of gotten big. I just don't think it's as prominent as it used to be. It's like it's more so on social media now and on everything else as opposed to in Hollywood.
Yeah, though, there's a lot of places that don't go by that whole social rule of today, but then again, there's a lot that does.
Right.
And if you're trying to climb the ladder, you're probably going to encounter a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plenty to encounter. Yeah, lots of stuff to encounter out of that. Yeah. Yeah, you could. Yeah, much of what you could also find that's from the past could also be seen in parodies as well.
Right.
Eddie Murphy was quite a golden champion of comedy back then, guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, Delirious was a classic.
Yeah, he even voiced
Yeah.
Mushu in Mulan.
I remember before him, it was Richard Pryor was all the rage, but then Eddie Murphy came, and then everybody loved that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was like his like comedic hero too.
Yeah, Richard Pryor is quite famous for being a comedian back in his time, right before his accident in 1980.
Right. Yeah, I think he kind of like changed comedy a little bit. I think he was like one of the biggest stand-ups back then.
And he
Yeah.
did a lot of movies with what was it, Gene Wildman? I
Yeah.
believe was his name. Those were some great movies.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet they were.
Yeah, like Young Frankenstein.
Oh,
Yeah, that too.
Richard Pryor wasn't in that one. I
Yeah,
don't
I
believe.
know. I'm talking about Gene Wilder.
There was a Hear No Evil, See No Evil. I believe that was one of them. Crazy
Yeah.
Like a Fox.
Yep.
They had a bunch of them together.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, Axel, Beverly Hills Cop 4 is very much the last movie ever seeing Murphy together with all three of, with all,
Yeah.
well, it's the last movie we'll be seeing all these three stars together.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it was cool that they were able to do it. You know, I know Murphy's already pretty old, and Ashton, he was probably, I don't know, reaching like, 80, I think, at that point. So regardless, even if he wouldn't have passed, he probably wouldn't have been in another movie again.
Right on.
Well, I think they were all kind of friends anyway, and they just kind of wanted to get together and do this movie as a homage to what they had already, worked on and things like that in the past.
Yeah, that's true. But it seemed
Yeah,
to
it
work
sounds like a
better
cool thing to do.
Yeah, and it worked better than we saw out of Indiana Jones and stuff.
Oh,
Way
yeah.
better.
Well, yeah, they definitely had a lot more say in the movie than in Indiana Jones. I don't think Harrison Ford had any say in that movie.
Nope. None at all.
I'm glad it turned out better. I guess I'll watch it. I wasn't really interested in it because I didn't watch Coming into America 2 because that was done far too late, and I heard it was bad. And the first one was just so good because Murphy produced that movie, the first one, and it
Yeah.
ended up being really good. Like it was like even the intro when they showed Zumbia, like they had like this 2-minute long like dance that they had in there, and like the choreography there was like very cited being comedy. It was actually pretty impressive how he was able to kind of make it all look.
Mm-hmm.
The
Another James
last
Earl Jones
Coming
classic.
to America that came out, it wasn't like real bad. Of course, it wasn't as good as the previous, but it wasn't too bad.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's good to see all three of the main cast from the original films come together again, and for the finale of this fourth film as well. I mean, they were back in the shootout. Jesus. Yeah, they were back at the mansions, doing their thing, taking on bad guys, and they were taking on drug cartel in this movie, folks. Actual drug cartels who were aligned with Cade Grant. Well, can't seem to find them on the search engine here. But Axel, with the help of his friends and allies from the police department, were able to save Jane, and they took out Grant. Well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character took out Grant because Foley jumped in to take a bullet for his daughter. Yeah. Yeah. Quite impressive. Yeah. This movie amazed me.
The movie
And-
turned out well, but I don't think it left much of an opening for it to continue past that point.
Right.
Yeah, nor should it at this point since Ashton isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
It is cool that they have like that scene of like all three of them together, and meanwhile, Star Wars, they could have done that with the sequel trilogy, and they completely fumbled that for no reason.
Yeah.
All you have is just a meme of like all of them, like what Star Wars fans really wanted. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
They do not listen to the fans. They just don't.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
I think what they're more concerned about is trying to captivate younger audience and try to like build a new fan base off that, and it just doesn't make sense because you can do it both ways. It's actually easier to do it to please everyone as opposed to kind of shun part of a crowd
No.
together and then kind of try to brainwash like little kids into
Welcome.
like
Going
thinking
on.
a certain way.
Yeah. So what do you think, Cyphex?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Hey, what's up?
See, the last one I saw is this one. I mean, because it just came out. I haven't seen the first three in a minute. But I think the biggest fumble that they made with this movie was not calling it Axel AF. You know, they could have got some marketing out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right. It's literally already kind of in the title. But the other thing I'm surprised they did was do the bad father trope. I was surprised that Eddie Murphy wanted to do that after he's doing all this family movie stuff. You would have thought maybe it would have been more like a dad-daughter, like more team-up movie. I know it's them reconnecting. They could have done something with that if he wants to kind of throw in that family stuff. And then the other thing is I think they should just when they do these remakes of like movies that are 20, 30 years old sometimes, they need to just go for it, man. Like take all the stuff that was from, I mean, you have like 20 years of reviews and what worked and what didn't, and just really hammer it home, like the action scenes, the witty banter that he's really known for. And they have some of it in here, but it's like you could have went for a lot more, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. He was. 40 years this franchise has been glimmering and shining, and wow. We ended up losing John Ashton on the day we got Uncle T to join you and Katie and Andy on Hold My DualShock, well, anyway, it's kind of sad that we lost Taggert. I mean, he was one of the best parts of the first two films, especially number
Yeah.
2. When you look at the scene with it, you know.
What's
They-
kind of funny?
Go
ahead.
for it.
No, what's kind of funny is if you guys watch, do you ever watch Texas Walker Texas Ranger?
Oh yeah.
They
Not
kind
that-
of
not
like
that
literally, they literally just copied. Like I didn't even think about it, but they literally just copied like Beverly Hills Cop into like Texas Ranger because they got Chuck Norris, they've got his like partner, and then they have like the older, bald sheriff, who's like kind of like a no nonsense guy, but he's got also have this like little quirky like fatherly like kind of like warmth to him, and how they kind of like all click together. I feel like, and then you have like the other like young rookie type cop. I just feel like they really just took the formula from this movie.
It's essentially a buddy cop formula.
Yeah.
It's buddy cop, and then it's like it's also a fish out of water kind of thing because every time he's in a town that's not his own town, so he's still learning the lay of the land. But his buddies happen to be there that do know the lay of the land or whatever. So that's where the buddy copness kind of comes in. So it's kind of a couple different tropes going on. But the first two, I mean, they're so good, and then that third one is like not as well received, if I remember right. It's been a while since I've seen them all, but it's like so much iconic stuff in it. I mean, just the soundtrack alone is phenomenal. So, I mean,
Well, these
I'll have
are
to rewatch
great
them.
they're great to go back and rewatch. But one thing it will also remind you of is how much the world has changed in that time.
Oh yeah, I've been going through a lot of 80s and 90s movies, and I'm just like, man, I kind of miss this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So much has been missed. Yeah, and one of those mistakes they've made for the third movie, as you know, was replacing Ashton with this guy you see here on the right. Hector Alonso,
Yeah.
the guy who voiced Bane in the animated Batman Mystery of the Batwoman movie. This guy.
And I've seen him in other stuff, and he's usually pretty good in those. I don't remember him in this movie. Like I said, now that you guys are doing this and talking about it, I was like, oh man, I need to go back and rewatch a lot of these. I might just do all 4 again just to see how they all compare.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I might rewatch the 4th one right after I watch the entire 3rd one on my end too. I mean, wow, how is it? How are we losing so much good talent, guys? I mean, last month, as I said, we've lost sort of a little too many. First being James Earl Jones, then Peter Renaday, along with Maggie, whoever Maggie Queen or something, and now we lost, and now we lost John Ashton. Gosh, I mean, you even if you are able to continue the the franchise, you simply can't. You're not going to be able to find that same magic that made the original successful. And also, yeah, John Ashton, great actor. Yeah, we lost him on the day we had Uncle T. We lost him on the 26th of last month. John Ashton, Beverly Hills Cop star, was 76. Beverly Hills Cop star hang on. John Ashton has died at 76. The actor was known for playing Detective Sergeant John Taggert in the film franchise opposite Eddie Murphy and Judge Reynolds. Ashton died on Thursday, September 26th in Fort Collins, Colorado. Fort Collins, Colorado, September 26th. His death was confirmed by his manager, Alan Sommers, to Variety. Ashton's rep told TMZ that the actor died peacefully after a battle with cancer. John leaves behind a legacy of love, dedication, and service, Sommers said in a statement. His memory will forever be treasured by his wife, children, grandchildren, as well as his brother, sisters, his extended family, and all who loved him. John's impact on the world will be remembered and celebrated for generations to come. Ashton's family requested that any donations in John's memory be made to Pathways Hospice Care. Ashton recently reprised his role as John Taggert in the 2024 film Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which premiered on Netflix in July. Taggert was a detective in the first 2 Beverly Hills Cop movies. In Ashton's 3rd and now final film of the franchise, he was upped to police chief. And here they are, all together in their last appearance together. Ashton played many law enforcement officers over the years of his career on screen, both before and after Beverly Hills Cop made him a familiar face, but it was the Murphy-led action comedy that became his breakout role. Ashton has co-starred as law enforcement with actors like Dennis Quaid in 1979's Breaking Away and Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro in 1989's Midnight Run. He played detectives in TV miniseries A Death in California, ABC, 1985, and The Deliberate Strangers, NBC, 1986, and a sheriff in Stephen King's The Tommyknockers, ABC, 1993. Detective roles were the bread and butter for the character actor. He reprised his Breaking Away role in a short-lived series of the same name on ABC from 1980 to 1981, and had a leading role in NBC police drama Hardball, 1989 to 1990, in which he played a veteran detective paired with a cocky, inexperienced partner. Ashton played Detective Sergeant Anderson in 5 episodes of Brookside. In 2009, he played a chief of detectives in an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Ashton has nearly 100 acting credits on his resume, spanning across TV and film. Other TV credits include MASH, JAG, EastEnders, The Tracy Ullman Show, and King of the Hill, among others. Ashton was born February 22nd, 1948 in Springfield, Massachusetts, and was raised in Enfield, Connecticut. He began his acting career on stage in Los Angeles in the early 70s after graduating from the University of Southern California. Wow, man, this guy had quite a res, had quite a life. Yeah,
Quite a few
That's-
accolades behind him.
Yeah,
Quite a
that's
few.
quite a resume.
So, did it say he was battling cancer?
yes, yeah, he was battling
You know,
cancer.
there's people who live about that long with no cancer. So, that's really something.
Yeah, gosh. Well, I gotta thank you guys for coming tonight, and
Yeah,
glad
jumped
we
on
had-
late, but I just got back to the
thank you,
studio,
Noise,
so I
and thank
figured
you,
I would come say
well,
hi.
let me. Oh, thank you, Noise Pollution. It was, and of course, Alizer. It was great having you two on with us tonight.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Good to meet you guys.
Yeah,
Good to meet you too.
yeah, yeah. Take care.
So I guess we're being kicked out. It's
No,
closing time.
it was
You
fun
can't.
having
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Don't worry, there'll be other times where I might have you guys come join us again on panel. For
It's
now,
okay. I'm sober enough to drive.
Yeah. Well, take care.
See you guys.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Later.
And thanks for coming, Cyphex.
Okay. You can find me on my YouTube channel. If you search Noise Pollution 88.
Yep. Let me get that for you
Sounds
before
good.
gotta get that for you before we conclude things here. Yeah. Yes, I gotta thank you. Gotta thank you very much. Yeah. Let me find it for you. All right. Let me get it in there before we. All right. As you. Yeah. Yeah. Let me put it in. All right. Here's the link. Go and subscribe to Noise Pollution at his channel. Yeah.
Need all the support I can get.
You're welcome.
Hey, well, thanks for having me. I'll see you next time.
All right. See
Same
ya.
here. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Up. Time. Thank you all for coming to tonight's live stream. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you've enjoyed the stream, and be sure to check out more online as well. I'll be sure to look into getting more folks to come and join us for these evening chats on discussing franchises and so much more. Take care, guys. Sergeant Garatina out.